Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and did you know that a family of 4 can easily spend over $10,000 on a week-long vacation at Walt Disney World? But here's the thing, you don't have to. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how you can bring that number down. We're talking saving thousands of dollars without sacrificing your favorite rides, the character meals, or the fireworks at night. Plus, Disney just dropped one of the biggest deals we have ever seen for 2026, including essentially it's a book 4, you get 2 free offer that's going to be later in the summer of 2026. So just be sure to stick around as I'm going to break down all of the ways to save money in Walt Disney World in this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. Thank you again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, I'm about to break down how to save money in Disney World. So we're going to jump right in, and we're starting with what could be the single biggest factor affecting your Disney budget, and that is when you should go. So Disney's system is essentially a date-based pricing system where the hotels and ticket prices will both fluctuate based on the time of year that you visit. And one week compared to the other could cost you hundreds of dollars per person, not just total. So we actually did an analysis recently, and I used the ticket analysis to come up with what I thought was going to be the slowest weeks at Walt Disney World. And within that analysis, I was able to see that the difference between going during one of the slower months, which is typically going to be January, early February, May before Memorial Day, and then late August, really through September, compared to the busiest week in March, which is spring break, compared to the holidays, you typically can save almost $200 per person on just the tickets alone. And you're not doing anything, you're just strategically picking when you're going to visit Disney. So there is sort of a rhyme and reason behind the madness, and I definitely would give some thought if you're trying to stretch a budget as far as when you are going to go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the deal that Disney just released, because I actually feel like this tells us a lot more as far as what the crowd patterns have been and how they have been changing over the past couple years. Disney just released, essentially, it's buy 4, you get 2 free. You get 2 free nights and 2 free park days on select packages from May 26th through September 15th arrivals. You have to book this by February 15th, 2026. But I think this tells us everything that the data I've been looking at kind of backs up, and that is that most families are not visiting Walt Disney World during the summer. I think especially with the rise in popularity of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I think families typically are trying to go either during spring break when everyone's off of school, or they're waiting for those better sort of weather time of years to visit Walt Disney World. And I think Disney's trying to pull families back in with great deals. And so another pro tip on top of picking the best time of year to visit is booking with the right company. If you use a free travel agent like the Park Prodigy, not only will we help you find the best dates for your Disney World trip, but if Disney releases a promotion or a discount like this, we're going to move quickly to try to move your package over to that upgraded deal, and so you could take advantage of it. And this is going to really tie into my next point, which is picking the best Disney World hotel for your budget, right? And luckily, Disney has a lot of on-site value resorts. We have the all-star resorts, which are going to typically be the cheapest on property, starting around the $135 to $175 per night, depending on the season. Another really popular value resort is going to be the Pop Century Resort, which is connected to the Disney Skyliner. And so this resort's going to start around the $175 to $240 per night. And then for those larger families, you definitely want to keep an eye out on the Art of Animation Resort, which has some really affordable family suites with really fun and incredible theming for the kids. And this is also connected to the Disney Skyliner. And so one of the reasons why I feel like this matters, kind of tying into point number 1, is a lot of times, we'll help families, and I understand that, we're trying to figure out how do we get the best deal, right? So you might be looking to book your hotel on Expedia, and then you come into us to buy your park tickets for a discounted price. But what I would say there is if Disney releases a deal like they just released, it's a lot harder to go and almost impossible to take advantage of that deal. And that's why booking a vacation package where you're putting down $200 deposit, if you kind of know that you're visiting during one of the periods that Disney's most likely going to drop deals, I don't see the benefit of kind of booking it a la carte. I would just book the package. And again, in my opinion, Disney's more likely to release deals the past couple years, definitely in the summer. I would say September, January, February, right before spring break, and you're pretty much trying to avoid the holidays. Okay, but let's say, hey, you're not sold on the Disney resorts. There are some great off-site alternatives that can help you stretch a budget. So I live in Orlando. Orlando now. I actually live right behind Flamingo Crossing, and I feel like Flamingo Crossing has some hidden gems. Definitely the Homewood Suites, the Town Place Suites. I've seen rates here around $100 to $140 per night. They're very close to Disney. Some of them even come with breakfast in the morning. And the biggest trade-off here though that you have to kind of consider is you do lose out on some of the early benefits or the benefits, the perks that come from booking a Disney World hotel. But you have to make that decision for yourself. Is it worth it or not? So the main ones really are going to be the 30-minute early entry in the morning. And if you stick around, there's actually a way to get around that one. However, the next one, there's really not a way to get around. And that is if you don't stay at an official Disney World hotel, you won't have this 7-day booking window for the Disney World Lightning Lane. And so that might be a deal breaker for some folks. And you kind of have to outweigh how much is the extra money that we're saving worth it. But there are some hotels that actually will get you early entry. Specifically, the ones that come to mind off the top of my head are going to be the Disney World Swan, the Dolphin, the Swan Reserve. They are Marriott hotels, so you can even use your Marriott points to book these hotels, and that's another great way to save. And it's the same thing really with the offsite hotels. A lot of them, you can use your points to sort of save and go and book the hotels. But those in particular, the Swan, Dolphin, Swan Reserve, they still come with the early entry, and those specifically do come with the Lightning Lane kind of capabilities, open windows. But you have to keep an eye out, because I had a family who recently came down and they stayed at the Waldorf Astoria. We thought that they were getting the 7-day window with the Lightning Lane. Long story short, unfortunately, they did not. So you want to be sure that you understand all of the benefits that are coming with your hotel. If you're trying to book a Disney World hotel with points, Disney has a Visa card that you can go and sign up for. You earn points, and those points specifically can be kind of transitioned and turned into booking and putting it towards a Disney World vacation. All right, over to the next way to save. And of course, you can't go into the theme parks without your tickets. And honestly, booking tickets can be some of the most expensive part of any Disney World vacation. So what I would say here is be strategic and understand exactly what type of ticket you need. Don't just go and you buy a park hopper ticket because so-and-so, your neighbor, told you that you have to get this ticket type, right? Understand like what is going to work best for your family. And typically we find that families with young kids, it's a little bit harder to park hop. If it's your first time visit, it's going to be overwhelming. There's going to be so much that you're taking in. You probably don't need to park hop. And just this alone, if you're a family of 4, if you just figure out that you don't need the park hopper option, that's typically going to be almost a $400 savings on your ticket. And I really do feel like if you're trying to see and do it all, like you need to give each park a full day. And I get the comments constantly, Animal Kingdom's not a full day park, right? But I mean, it's still a lot more enjoyable to see those shows that they have, to take the park in just and not be rushed to hop over to another park just because you read online that it's not a full day park. That's just my opinion. If you have 4 days, I definitely would just give each park its own day. And honestly, Magic Kingdom is definitely, for most people, at least a day and a half to a 2-day park in and of itself. But on top of that, you can also team up with a company like the Park Prodigy that will discount the tickets so you can save a little bit more on top of that. And I think another savings that folks don't talk about is not only will you save money by always buying your park tickets in advance, especially compared to the gate prices, but you're going to save time. You won't have to figure out what type of tickets you need once you get down to Orlando. So always buy your park tickets in advance. And right now we actually are running an extra $10 off all of our Disney World tickets over at theparkprodigy.com. Use promo code ParkProdigy10 to save that extra $10 off. And another great deal right now that Disney has released, that there is sort of a hack, and this is where kind of understanding the ticket types and understanding how to work the system comes into play. So Disney has a ticket deal for Disney Plus subscribers where it's essentially a 3-day, 3-park ticket. So it does not get you into Magic Kingdom. This ticket includes Animal Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. But the strategy here, the secret that some folks might not realize, is what I've seen is guests can actually come and purchase this 3-day, 3-park promotional ticket and then just buy a 1-day ticket to Magic Kingdom. And what we've seen is essentially by buying it separate, it's still cheaper than getting a 4-day ticket from Disney. And so you definitely have to pick the right day to visit Magic Kingdom. But again, this is one of those hidden little secrets and gems that you might not have realized that you can go and try to take a look at. Another great way to save money in Walt Disney World is to avoid lightning lanes when possible. And if you're watching this video, you're already doing the right things. You're coming up with a strategy. You're trying to figure out how do you get the most out of your trip. Well, avoiding purchasing the lightning lanes can save you easily, I would say $60 per person per day if you're going with the multi-pass and single pass, and then up to $400 per person per day if you were thinking about going with the premier pass. And the other thing I would say here too is be strategic. If you know you kind of want to have the edge on some days, be strategic with the parks that you're purchasing lightning lanes at. So again, don't just go and purchase lightning lanes because someone told you you should. I would say that you can easily get through Epcot and Animal Kingdom with the right strategy. But if you're visiting Magic Kingdom and you only have one day, then yes, of course, the multi-pass could help you get through that park a lot easier on your one day. And then Hollywood Studios is another park that has some heavy ride hitters, and they typically have some of the longest wait times. So that's another park that you could strategically use the multi-pass to get more, and you save on the other 2 days. Another tip here is if you're not going with multi-pass, just make sure you arrive early. The early bird gets the worm, as the saying goes, and that definitely is the case when it comes to Walt Disney World. By arriving early and being some of the first guests in the park, you can easily knock out 2 to 3 of the really popular rides within the first hour and a half. And on top of that, just continue to game plan. A lot of people think that you have to buy the Lightning Lane or you won't ride everything. That's just not true. If you have a really solid game plan and an itinerary for your day, you can comfortably get onto a majority of the main rides. And if you do want some free park plans, we actually have a link in our show notes. You can go and you can download the park plans I made to get our families that book through us through the parks as easily and quickly as possible. Okay, over to another great way to save money and be strategic with your dining. And so again, always keep an eye on deals that Disney is running, as we've seen Disney release a lot of packages, including kids dine free, essentially. So this could be a great way for you to save. But what I would say is don't automatically assume that the Disney dining plan is going to save you money. Unless you really plan to understand exactly which menu items are going to sort of get you that savings, then my honest opinion is the Disney dining plan typically is just convenience over savings. So you might be better off just purchasing your meals a la carte. So as a general rule of thumb, when does the Disney dining plan make sense for you? Well, of course, families with young kids 3 to 9 who could potentially get their dining plan for free through a deal that Disney's running. If you love character dining, there are certain ways where you can kind of use your credits strategically to save on some of the out-of-pocket costs, which are typically $50 to $80 depending on the character dining experience. And then of course, big eaters who will do the research to maximize every credit. Who does the Disney dining plan not make sense for? Well, light eaters or picky eaters, families who prefer flexibility over pre-made meals. And then of course, if you're not getting the kids discount, it doesn't guarantee savings. It's more of a convenience. So on the flip side, right, of course, quick service is going to be your best friend. You can get some great quick service meals in Walt Disney World between $12 to really $18 per meal. And so some of our favorite quick service restaurants in the parks are definitely Centuli Canteen over in Disney's Animal Kingdom. My wife loves Woody's Lunchbox and Hollywood Studios. We really have started to love the backlot. And then Cosmic Rays, from how many meals they serve, is definitely one of the busiest restaurants in all of Walt Disney World. But another hidden gem that you can do is Disney does allow you to bring your own food. Now, there are some sort of limitations, but what I would say is, as a general rule of thumb, as long as it's not refrigeratable or you don't need to refrigerate it, you're typically good. So we're talking sandwiches, chips, pretzels, granola bars, stuff like that. You can also bring in water bottles. And one of the tips that I love to do on my vacations is I will use a company like Instacart, and I'll actually get the groceries delivered to my hotel. So that means I can stock up on breakfast items and snacks, still have granola in the morning, and I avoid spending the money on food within the park. Another one of the hidden tips is to do shareable snacks or shareable meals. So some of the most shareable snacks within the parks are going to be the huge Mickey pretzels, which can easily feed 2 kids, the funnel cakes and the churro plates, the Flame Tree barbecue platter over in Animal Kingdom can definitely feed a family. And I would say be sure to take advantage of the refillable popcorn bucket as long as you guys like popcorn. It's going to be about $14 to $16 up front for the bucket, but refills are only $2.25. So if your family snacks on popcorn, this pays for itself literally within 2 to 3 refills. And like I said already, you can bring water bottles into the park, but don't forget that you can get free cups of water at a majority of the quick service locations, and this will help you skip avoiding having to buy $4 to $5 water bottles within the park. And real quick, another one that I actually really enjoy, especially when I'm trying to be on the healthier side, is if you see something on the kids menu that you will enjoy, just order it. Order off the kids menu. No one's gonna say anything, right? And you can definitely enjoy a smaller portion. All right, next over to transportation and shopping. So from a transportation standpoint, again, one of the biggest obstacles that I see when sort of trying to figure out what makes sense, do you go on-site, do you go at an off-site hotel, is the transportation. So a lot of times, if you're going with an off-site hotel, you kind of are limited where they will label it as free shuttles, right? But their shuttles will typically run maybe 2 or 3 hours in the morning and then 2 or 3 hours at night. If you want the ultimate flexibility, then you're going to go with a Disney World hotel and you're going to take advantage of Disney's free transportation, which are going to be the buses, monorail, boats, or Skyliner at this point in time. And this will help you avoid having to rent a car or even Uber and Lyfts if you sort of want to go back to your hotel and take a break in the middle of the day, but your offsite hotel doesn't have a shuttle that runs. So it's important to understand the shuttle transportations and just know know that Disney's transportation, like it's going to start running, I would say an hour to 2 hours before the park opens up. And then it's running consistently throughout the day until about an hour after the parks close at night. But another great way to take advantage of some free entertainment is to don't skip Disney Springs. So you can swap a park day for Disney Springs. No admission is required to kind of get in and walk around and just enjoy some of the live entertainment. They have music. You can walk in the stores and check out all the different shopping, a ton of dining options from sit down all the way to quick service. And this is great for your arrival days or your departure days where you don't want to pay for a full park ticket. But another tip that you can take advantage of, and Disney definitely has pulled this back a little bit, but there are certain times when you can actually get a free water park day on your check-in day. So right now it's typically going to be around the summer of 2026. Last year though, Disney actually had it the entire year. So again, if you're booking strategically, there are ways to get, and that is a full free day at the Disney water park on your check-in day. If you're booking strategically, there are ways to sort of get more out of your vacation, and that's definitely one of them. And another way that we've seen folks kind of get more out of their hard-earned dollars is by buying discounted Disney gift cards, either from Target. Another really popular one is going to be Sam Clubs or Costco before your trip. So there are times when you can save up to 5% on the Disney gift cards. There are going to be limits. I'm not going to get entirely into how to go do it. I just know that it does work. And then you can use those gift cards on anything Disney. You can use it on food, merchandise, even tickets and your vacation package. And last but not least, of course, when you're booking a Disney World vacation, when you get down to Orlando, bring anything that you would possibly need in the theme park. So we're talking sunscreen, ponchos, cooling towels, phone chargers. As you can imagine, anything that you need to buy in the parks is going to be more expensive than if you just brought it from home. So this is one of the easiest ways to make sure that you are saving money on your Disney World trip. But that is it, everyone. That is how you can save money on your Disney World vacation. I know I really went into the booking aspect on how to save when booking a Disney World trip, but as a general rule of thumb, definitely be sure to travel off-peak when you can or when Disney is running deals. Right now, it's going to be summer. August, September is typically going to be the cheapest time to book a Disney World vacation. That buy four, you get two free is absolutely crazy. I can't remember the last time we saw a deal like this, so definitely be sure to go and take a look at that. Don't forget there are some great value resorts such as Pop Century, which is connected to the Disney Skyliner. I would always skip the Park Hopper unless you are a Disney World veteran. Take advantage of the free kids dining plans when they have them, or be sure to bring your food from home. Take advantage of that Disney popcorn bucket. Always have a strategy rope drop instead of using Lightning Lane when possible, and understand the free transportation at whatever hotel you pick. As you can see, there's a lot that goes into planning a Disney World trip, but here's the thing. Saving money at Disney doesn't mean sacrificing the magic, as you can see. It just means being smart about where you spend so that you can enjoy the rides without stressing about your credit card bill when you get home. I really hope you found this video helpful, and if you are ready to start planning, you can book your 2026 Disney World vacation today with just a $200 refundable deposit as long as your trip is 30 days or more out. And if you want help putting together the perfect vacation package for your family, just reach out to us at theparkprodigy.com. Our help is completely free, and we'll make sure that you get every discount that you qualify for. Just be sure to go check out the links in the description below, and if this video saved you some stress or some cash, just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our next Disney World vacation planning videos. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you again so much for checking out this video, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.